Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. I hope wherever and whenever you are, you're having a lovely day. You 100% deserve it. Today I don't know how long I'll talk because I really don't have that much to talk about. I just got home from a pretty stressful day at work, and I will preface, my cat wants something. I don't know what he wants, so if you hear him meowing in the background or any noise outside, it is very hot, so my window is open and the cat wants something. But I just got home from a bit of a stressful day at work. So we get a free meal every time we work, and so I decided to get dessert today. And I went and I sat on the patio, and I even bought myself a glass of wine. The wine is unfortunately not free. And yeah, I just went out there and I sat by the fire, drank my glass of wine, ate my dessert, and my coworker, who was, the server on the patio, he was like, "Ooh, so classy, you drink wine." And I was like, yes I do. I love wine. I drink it for the taste as well, not for the getting drunk part. Which I don't know if anyone drinks wine for the getting drunk part because it's such an acquired taste, but that's nonetheless, I am feeling better. So if you've had a stressful day, I support you in taking whatever time you need or indulgence you need for the night to help make up for the stressful day. In the video, we are playing with layouts. I made a comment last week that last week's video was kind of short and I only did half a page because I was feeling the desire to not be watched and wanting more time to play around with layouts. So this week's video is a little longer because I took a lot of time to play with the layouts. I'm including my review of the book The English Understand Wool in this layout. Technically I read it last week, but I didn't want it to go on last week's spread. But so what ended up happening is, so I printed out a few reviews on Goodreads, which I don't normally do, but this book, I literally think one of the reviews says any summary that you can hear from it is useless, and I agree. This is not a book that wants to be summarized. So I printed out a couple reviews that kind of said what I was feeling, maybe in a better way, but they ended up going on the page behind this one. But yeah, I was playing with these two images of water. Like I've been saying, I've been really obsessed with the lake and with water lately. And I want to go a few more times before summer's over. Maybe I'll go tomorrow. And I've just been obsessed with water. I've got a quote about water, something about water not resisting and how it goes where it pleases, which I thought was very interesting. And then I've got a quote about the word smitten and how it means that being smitten is not just being taken or kind of childishly crushing on someone. It's literally it comes from the word smite, and so it actually means devastating affection. You are suddenly devastatingly affectionate towards them, which I thought was very interesting. I love learning definitions of words. I find it very interesting of how a word's technical definition can be something and then we all use it in the wrong way. So yeah, that's kind of what this layout is about. Like I said, I took a lot of time playing with it. I did cut out I tried to cut out some dead parts, and I also cut out some, if the sword that you see to the right, I do cut it out of the paper, but then I don't stick it in, so I just cut that out because you didn't need to see that. But yeah, this layout. Oh, I also found, this is one of the few pages where I forgot to write my sources. So these photos, or at least the one with the deer, I have a source for. And obviously the quotes I have sources for. The water picture is one of those that it has been on Pinterest and no one knows the true origins of it. And then I saw something on someone's Instagram story about rock snoids, Snoids. and it was just like a very playful, like, essentially, if you have heard of like fairies and how fairies are like trickster spirits, it's kind of like rock snoids are like the fairy trickster spirits of the water's edge. You know, they take cool rocks from you, they misplace things, and so it reminded me a lot of fairy lore, and so I screenshotted it to copy into my book. I printed it out, but I was wanting more of a handwritten text because I already had 2 blocks of printed text, so I ended up handwriting it. But the Instagram person did not cite the source, and then when I went back to try and message them about it, the story had disappeared, like the 24 hours was up, and literally it was like an hour later, so I got like the tail end. I felt very lucky to have at least got a screenshot of, so I could copy, you know, what it says, but I don't have a source for it, so I didn't write the source, and that feels very unfortunate to me. It was like a picture of a book, so if you have seen a book or have heard anything about like rock snoids, and you know, this is probably a long shot, but you know, anywhere where there's like writings about them, please do comment down below and let me know, because I would either love to get the source for this, just, you know, for record keeping, and also like I don't like to steal people's work, that sort of thing. Do leave a comment down below. But we're just finally taping stuff in now. Like I said, I've had a stressful day. I've had a bit of a week. I picked up a second job in a completely different industry, and the hiring process has been like a lot of technical difficulties. And I had to buy black. I am not someone who wears the color black in my personal wardrobe ever. Like, I don't own a single piece of black clothing, especially not something like, I have like a black t-shirt that used to be my boyfriend's here and there, but obviously those are old and I can't wear those to work, sort of thing. So I actually had to go out earlier this year. I had to buy black for a wedding, and then they changed the dress code, so I didn't even need it, but that was like a thrift, so it was okay. But I had to go to the thrift store and like buy black clothes that I could wear to work, because it's a little bit of like a dressier atmosphere, and that's why, you know, black is seen as a very formal color, but that was just weird. Like, but I got so lucky. Usually I thrift, so I went to the thrift stores first, but I wasn't finding anything that would fit, and obviously I'll keep my eye out, so I went to Target and I purchased one dress. Always check thrift stores first. You'd be so surprised what you can find in thrift stores, and I should have found a lot of black stuff. You'd think that black would be a popular color, but I guess I just didn't go at the right time, or like nothing was in my size. It was very disappointing. So I did end up going to Target, and I found like this dress that I wasn't sure was gonna fit me. It was literally the last black one. They had one blue one and one black one, and I wasn't sure if it was gonna fit me, and I wasn't sure if it was like gonna, like if I was gonna like it. Obviously I think like flattering clothing is a very personal preference, but I personally didn't think it was gonna flatter me. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. But I went to the dressing room. I had like 7 items of black clothing and then I tried them on, and literally none of them fit or felt right. But when I put on this dress, I was so surprised. I was like, oh, this is comfy. I was like, this is comfy. This fits like perfectly. It's got a little bit of stretch, so like if I gain or lose weight, like it'll still fit, but it's like still form-fitting, and it's very like it wasn't stretchy as like the fabric was stretchy. They had like a little elastic band in the back, but it was actually so well constructed that you can't even see it when you're wearing it, because it's like on the inside, and it just looks like a very nice gathering in the back, and only in like one section, like by the waist, so like, you know, my hair's long, it covers it. It was so flattering, and I was like, ooh, I really like this. And then I was like, oh, I bet it's like polyester, because I try not to wear polyester. In this case, I probably would have bought it even if it was polyester, because I need it for work soon, and you know, it whatever. But I looked at the fabric composition, and it was mostly natural fiber. I think there was like 5% nylon or 5% spandex or something, which was such a low percentage that, but like it was mostly cotton, and I was like, ooh, which probably means I shouldn't put it in the dryer because then it's gonna shrink. But anyway, that's my story of the day. Of always check thrift stores first, but obviously we can't all be environmentally conscious all the time, because sometimes we have time constraints and thrift stores don't have what we need. Yeah, so back to the page. I ended up filling about 75% of this layout with handwritten text. So the entire left side, all that white space gets filled, and then the column on the right gets filled with text, like handwritten text. But I went to go reflect on the quote about how water does not resist, like water goes where it wants. And it was one of those where like nothing was coming up. There's nothing for me to reflect. I thought it was a good quote. I thought it had a lot of spiritual essence to it. I resonated with it, but there was nothing more for me to add. So I didn't write anything additional on it. I left it blank. And then when I was looking at the page, like I was like, oh, I'll come back to it. I'll stop recording and then, I'll just add to it later when I'm feeling ready, or sort of back to that whole when I'm not being watched and under a time constraint and I can actually sit with this quote or like meditated on it, I will like reflect on it. But I really didn't have any reflections, and then I was looking at the page and the white space almost kind of felt nice, like it felt like nice negative space. So I just left it blank, and I posted on my Instagram story, and people in the poll were like, yeah, leave it blank. So here's last week's spread that I'm going back and adding a column so I can put those reviews in case I want to put anything else on this page. But yeah, my Instagram followers just told me to leave it blank, so I did. And maybe when I go, like maybe a while, I'll reflect. Probably not, because I'll probably forget, or I'll probably want to work on other spreads. But I just left it blank. Journals are personal. They don't have to be completely filled all the time. You can fill them as much or as little as you want. Totally up to you. Sometimes I really love a page that's full of handwriting text. Like sometimes I'm in the mood for that, and sometimes I'm in the mood for an all printed Times New Roman text kind of thing, or like I wish my handwriting was neater. But today, I don't know, I was just like, I really wanted dark, so I reached for my Pilot pen rather than my Bic pen, and I made the lines, the text really dark. And I was enjoying that handmade feel. I'm getting to the point in my book where I have to use cardboard to write in it, which is like different for me. I've never had to do that in a journal, ever. I used to write my novels by hand, and I've never had to like put cardboard under it, but it's because I have so many layers of pasted things and stickers and stuff in here that is just so lumpy and junky that I have to have cardboard. But I wrote by hand, and then I just left what I felt needed to be left blank. We don't always have to, some things stick out to us and we want to put them in a journal, or we want to save them for later just because we liked them, and we don't have to comment on them or add anything. Sometimes we just agree with an argument. Like I said, I printed out some book reviews for this book because I felt like other people said it better than I did, which is rare because I'm a writer and I do like and I do like literature, and I like writing about literature and reflecting on it and stuff like that, and reviewing it and describing words in novels. But sometimes other people say it better than us. And then also sometimes we hear something and we're just like, yes, correct, no notes. And I think that's how one of these quotes was. Even the smitten text, I probably didn't have to comment on that, but I did because I was relating it back to some characters in a fiction work that I have, just some of my original characters that I love and I love dearly, so I'm going to comment on it, but not everything needs comment, and commonplaces and journals are weird and they're personal. Other updates I can give you, I have an old sketchbook that I haven't really drawn in, and so I'm thinking about either taking up sketching again or turning it into like sort of a scrapbook, like a casual scrapbook that I talked about in a really, really old video. I think in like my current journal setup video, I talked about how I wanted a more casual scrapbook that was like smaller, that I could paste like receipts in and just very super casual junky stuff that isn't necessarily commonplacing, but isn't, because my diary journal is very like, it's all text and I love the way that looks. Occasionally I'll paste in a picture if it's relevant, but like I don't put in receipts and I don't put in stickers, and it's very simple and plain, and I like it. I like that big chunky text for that journal. So I'm wanting something that's that. And then I had also talked a few videos ago about creating a garden journal, especially to document my tomatoes that I started this year, my little balcony garden that has not produced much, honestly, but I think I started a little late in the season, and I'm in a very northern climate, so the growing season is just really starting, so I think you just need to start things earlier indoors. So lesson learned for next year, but I just kept it all in a OneNote for now. I feel like I don't have the sticker paper that I want to print out, photos to document. I feel like I don't have enough to note other than like a handful of notes, so I just put it in like a digital document for now to kind of add to as I go on. But yeah, so we're just sticking to diary, journal, and Commonplace for now. And then of course I have my spiritual journal where I talk about spiritual occurrences, or you guys saw it in last week's video, I was journaling about tarot in it. So those are my 3 kind of journals, and we might be adding a casual scrapbook. It's getting to the time of the year, actually, time in like 3 or 4 years, where I'm gonna have to do my formal scrapbook of the last like 3 or 4 years. Especially this year, I went on a really big road trip, obviously, as I moved, so there's a lot of things that I want to document, and I think that's going to be so cool. I'm not really ready at the point to go back and read my journal starting from this year, to kind of look at those reflections that I've made as I've moved across the country and kind of had to branch out about like losing my job and having to kind of reevaluate where I currently am and what direction I want to go with like career, friends, and all that. I don't think I'm quite at the point where I'm ready to read it back for entertainment or to read it back to see if there's something I can glean from it. But I'm really excited. I'm really genuinely grateful that I did and have been writing down that journey, and am continuing to write that journal and allowing myself to, like, just the other day I was journaling and I was like, I don't really have anything to write about, but the weather is really beautiful and I'm sitting on the balcony, and let me just tell you about this really mundane morning that I've had. And I think years and decades from now, I'm going to be really grateful that I wrote that. I am someone who goes back and reads my journal. I think I saw something the other day and someone was like, I never go back and read my journal. And I know some people are like that. Like, some people journal and they're trying to vent and they're trying to get stuff out, and they don't go back to read it because they don't want to, or it's painful to. But I do journal for myself to go back and read. So I will actually address myself to the future, or I've found great enjoyment in going back and reading my own journal. So I guess maybe for this video, you guys should comment down below. Do you guys read your old journal entries? If you do, why do you do? How long do you wait? If you don't, why don't you? That sort of thing. I've never read, like I said, I'm not quite ready, to read January's entries over, it's only August. But, I will go back to my spirit journal from high school, which is kind of the only journal I had during high school. And I'll go back and read that, and I will be very interested. My current spirit journal is kind of a reused journal from high school. I had written maybe 20 pages, and then I kind of taped them off and sectioned them off because it's a beautiful vintage notebook that I obviously wanted to use the rest of the paper for. So I picked it off now, but I kind of sectioned off with ribbon and tape the previous high school, so I can access it later if I want to. But I have no desire to read that. The first page is obviously visible because you can't cover it, and I just read it and I was like, oh my god, it is so cringe. It was about boys or something, and I was like, LOL, you thought you were in love, but you weren't. But that's just life. So yeah, I think this video should be wrapping up, and I feel like I've said more than enough for the day. So I'm gonna drink some water and enjoy the rest of the evening quietly. I hope you have a lovely day, evening, afternoon, night, wonderful sleep, because you 100% deserve it, and I will see you all next time.